All right, so we're gonna start off really easy here today. It says a property is 150 feet deep and 75 feet wide. What is the perimeter of the property? Now, we're talking about perimeter here. So for these kinds of problems, I like to draw a picture. So I'm gonna draw a picture for number one. I'm gonna draw what a lot size would look like. This is a property, right? A lot size kind of looks similar to this. And it's saying it's 150 feet deep, so 150 feet deep this way, and 75 feet wide. So wide is this way. So 75 feet wide. Okay, so we're assuming this is a rectangle, okay, by the dimensions that they're giving us. They're asking for the perimeter, okay? Now, perimeter is not to be confused with area. Okay, so perimeter, we just add up all the sides of the square or the rectangle. So if this is 75 feet, that means this will also be 75 feet. Okay? If this is 150 feet, then on this side will be 150 feet. So therefore, all we have to do is just add up this, 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 and this, and that's our answer. So we have 150 plus 75 plus 150 plus 75. So now our perimeter equals 450 feet. 450 feet. Okay, so therefore our answer is B. That's a pretty basic question that you'll get on your real estate state exam. So remember, perimeter you add. So a good way to remember this by is that perimeter has like a T. So it's kind of like plus, like a plus sign. So that's a good way to remember perimeter. Let's go on to the next question. All right, here we go. A property is 200 feet wide and 300 feet long. What is the total acreage of the property? Okay, and here are our answers. So once again, for these kinds of questions, I always like to draw a picture. That way it gives me some sort of perception as to what I'm working with. And it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? So don't get upset if it's not perfect or anything, but you know, so, okay, so it's 200 feet wide and it's 300 feet long. What is the total acreage of the property? Okay, so they want to know total acreage. Can anybody tell me in the comments how many square feet are in an acre? Definitely 43,560. Very good. So there's 43,560 square feet. Okay, that's feet squared or square feet, same thing, in 1 acre. Very important conversion. You need to know this. All right, so the first step we're gonna do to find how many acres there are is multiply these two, right? Because we gotta find the area of this property. So since acreage is in square feet, when we multiply these, it then becomes feet squared, okay? When you add, it does not become feet squared, only when you multiply, okay? So we say 200 feet times 300 feet gives us 60,000 feet squared. Okay, so now that's how many feet squared there are. What do you think we're gonna have to do next here to find how much acreage there is in this property? We gotta convert this into acres. All right, so what we'll do is just divide. So we have 6,000 feet squared, right? Let's multiply this conversion. These have to be diagonal. So we would have it down here, 43,560 feet squared is 1 acre. Okay, so we're crossing these out, and basically what we're doing is dividing by 43,560 to get our acres. So we get our calculator and divide by 43,560, and we get 1.377. So 1.377. I always try to take at least a couple extra numbers. That way we can round if we need to. So let's see what the answers say. Okay, so the answer gave us 2 digits. So that means since this is 7, I have to round this up. So it's going to equal 1.38 acres in total. So my answer is C. Okay, remember the rounding thing. So if it had said 1.374, then since this is 5 or less, less than 5. Okay, since this is less than 5, this stays as 1.37. Okay, but if this was 5, 6, 7, or 8, or 9, we round up like we do here. Okay. So that's the answer for this one. You guys are doing great. So here we go. Here's the next question. Can you guys see it? All right. So it says a buyer is purchasing a property for $250,000 with a 20% down payment. What is the amount of the down payment? Okay, so these questions are definitely going to be on the state exam. As a realtor, you definitely need to know the basics of down payment, percentage, how to calculate percentage. That is so important because your commission payment comes as a percentage. Down payments come as percentages. So getting to know the percentage and how to work with it is very, very important. All right, so let's get started on this one. So for number 3, I'm gonna just flip the page. All right, so number 3, it's the purchase property for $250,000. Okay, so purchase price equals $250,000. Okay, and they want to put a 20% down payment. So down payment, 20%. Okay, what is the amount of the down payment? Okay, so let's think about this before we continue. So when you're saying percents and of, the word of, okay, that means to multiply. So basically, you're going to be multiplying the percent times the 250,000, okay? Because remember, percent means a portion out of 100, okay? So this is basically 20 over 100. And then you multiply it by 250,000, okay? So 20% down on $250,000 property is going to be $50,000. So the answer is B. So that's why I want to teach you how to change this to a decimal. It's actually better to calculate it. So when you have this 20 here, that's a whole number. Okay? Remember, when you express $20, it's really $20.00, okay? So that decimal is back here, meaning it's back here. So in order to convert that to a decimal, we just have to move it to the left 2 times. And the decimal goes right here. So therefore, 20% is equal to 0.2. Okay, you're only moving it 2 times. Okay, now let's do, for example, you have 4.5% interest. How do we move this? We have to move this two decimal places. Okay, so you go 1, 2, and here's where your decimal goes, and a 0 goes in place of this. So 4.5% is equal to 0.045. All right, here we have it. Number 4. All right. Any comments or anything like fun, that exciting? I mean, I want to know more about my people, my followers, everybody that's here. Definitely want to know if, what you guys are up to, where you guys are at in your real estate journey. So please feel free to leave it in the comments. I am always helpful, love to help everybody, and it's just been a joy, to be honest. You guys have been absolutely awesome. The comments I've been getting on my videos are just, I never would have imagined. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. It says, a property is listed for sale at $450,000 with a commission rate of 6%. What will be the total commission paid to the real estate agent if the property sells at its listed price? Now, this is so important for you guys to know, because this is how you're gonna get paid. Okay? So let's say it's list price. So let's put LP, because that's how they write it in the MLS. $450,000. And the commission is 6%. All right, so here, as you see, another percent problem that we have to go through. Okay, see, real estate and math is a lot about percents. So this is how you're gonna get paid. This is how much you're gonna get paid. All right, usually in real estate, commission is a total of 6%, where 3% goes to the listing agent and 3% goes to the buyer's agent or selling agent. Okay, they call the buyer's agent the selling agent. Okay, so that's usually the breakdown. But in this problem, this person's gonna get 6%. Okay, now let's see how much money this person's gonna make. They probably had the listing and brought the buyer. So they're gonna get this full commission. That's awesome. All right. So remember, we gotta change this percent to a decimal. So we have 6%. What do I do here? What's the next step? How do I change the 6% to a decimal? 6% is equal to, remember, we have to divide it by 100. So we divide by 100. What is the answer going to be? Get your calculators. 6 divided by 100. We're going to get 0.06. Okay? So the 6% is equal to 0.06. All right, so we're going to now multiply this by 450. So 0.06 times $450,000. And let's see how much money we're going to make selling this house. $27,000. So $27,000 is my answer. A. Very, very important to know how to do this. Remember, you're just going to get your percent, whether it's 34%, and divide it by 100. And then that's going to equal 0.34. Okay? Even if it's 6.2%, divided by 100. Okay? That's going to equal 0.062. Let's go on to the 5th question, okay? Now, here we have another question in regards to a property, okay? So it has a frontage of 75 feet and a depth of 120 feet. What is the total area? Okay, so they're asking for area in square feet. Okay, remember what I told you. Area is always square something. Square meters, square feet, square inches, because you're multiplying two units of the same. I'm going to bring algebra into this. But remember when you were in algebra and you did x times x, that equaled x squared. So the same thing with units. If you multiply feet by feet, you get feet squared, okay? That's just a little basic algebra overview. And now let's look at this problem. So number 5, I know that probably threw you guys for a loop, but that's just the basics of it. That's how it is. That's why it becomes square feet when you are doing area, okay? So let's draw our picture like I like to do. Okay, it has a frontage of 75 feet. So the frontage is your front property line, like where your driveway is or whatever, the front of your house. Okay, that's called the frontage. And they're usually about 75 feet by 100. That's the standard size lot, at least in Miami-Dade County. And then the depth or length is 120 feet. Okay? And they want to know the area. Now, to solve for area, if we go to our trusty dusty little study guide and we go to page, let me see, 12. If you see here in area calculations, on page 12, area formula calculations, you'll see the formula there. It says area equals length times width. Okay, so here's what we just drew, pretty much. This is a rectangle, this is a square. So for squares or rectangles, you use the same exact formula. Triangles is a different formula, and circles too, but that's not anything we're going to worry about, okay? So here is the solution, okay? So we're going to say area equals length times width, okay? So length times width, and it doesn't matter which one's which because you're multiplying. So it could be this one or this one, whoever goes first. It does not matter. So we say area equals 75 times 120. And then we get the calculator. 75 times 120 equals 9,000. And since we multiplied feet by feet, like we have here, it is going to be square feet. 9,000 square feet. So my answer is C. Okay, Crystal, I think you were asking about that area. Here you go. Area calculations, which is very important because a lot of, and you could do this for a house too. Remember, area is what's used in all real estate when it comes down to how big a property is or a house, okay? You can measure the area of your house, okay? If you have a room, you measure one wall, say it measures 10 feet, and then you measure this wall, and this measures 9 feet. This room is 9 times 10, which is 90 square feet, okay? So that's what area is. That's how you find things when it comes down to real estate. All right, number 6. It says a real estate closing is scheduled for May 15, with the day of closing charged to the buyer. Okay, when they say that, when the day of closing is charged to the buyer, that means the buyer takes property on May 15th forward. So the seller only owns the property until May 14. Okay, this is very important when we go into this. So remember that. It says the buyer has collected rent for the month of May in the amount of $2,500 and the buyer will assume the tenant's security deposit of $1,500. Okay, the buyer will also be responsible for any rent that is due on June 1. Using the 30-day method, what is the prorated amount of rent that the buyer owes to the seller? All right, now here, let's write everything down. So closing is May 15. Okay, and it's to buyer. The buyer owns it. Okay, the seller has collected rent for the month of May in the amount of $2,500. So rent is $2,500 already he's received. Okay, so since the buyer is picking up the house from 15th on, he's entitled to some of this rent. Okay, but so is the seller because he was still the owner. Okay, now here it says, and the buyer will assume the tenant's security deposit of $1,500. That's useless. That doesn't matter. Okay, the buyer will also be responsible for any rent that is due on June 1. Also useless. That's just in there to throw you off, add extra numbers. They will do that. So it's always, you need to know what they're asking. So it says, using the 30-day method, what is the prorated amount of rent that the buyer owes to the seller? So what is the seller's portion is what they're asking here. All right, so if they want us to use the 30-day method, even though May has 31 days, okay, we have to now get this rent, because this is for the month. We got to find out how much rent is per day. So let's take this 2,500 and then what are we going to do? We got to divide this now by 30 days, right? Because we got to find out how much it is per day. So we go 2,500 divided by 30. And that gives us $83.33. Remember, the 3 here does not make this go up. So this is just $83.33 per day. Okay, so now since the closing is May 15, that means the seller still gets from May 1 to May 14, all of this, per day. So that's what, 14 days. So we say 14 times 83.33. And we get $1,166. And then notice here how there's a 6 here. So that means you gotta round up. Trust me, they do it to us. That's how it's done. Okay? So that's the prorated amount the seller gets. Okay, so the answer is B. So I want to show you a quick little way. I know that they're going to have ones, and maybe like I did one in a TikTok video before about the days of the month. So I'm going to go over it real quick here with you guys too. Okay, this is a little quick thing on how to tell how many days are in a month. Okay, if you don't know that song, which I don't know the song, but here's a good way so that way you could take, when you take your test, and I will definitely be doing more of these questions on TikTok. So you grab your hands like this, okay? You have knuckles, right? You have knuckles and then you have indentations here. So the easiest way to tell how many days are in a month is you start on this knuckle, the pointer finger. Okay, this is January. January now has 31 days. This here in the indentation is February. February has 28 or 29 days. Okay, then you go March, which is 31, April, which is 30, May, 31. So you see I'm just going in between, And then here's 30, which is June. Then July, 31. Then you start all over again. August, 31. September, 30. October, 31. November, 30. December, 31. Okay, that's how easy it is. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And that way you'll never, ever forget how many days are in a month. All right, let's get started on the last problem. It says, if a property owner's mortgage payment is $1,200 per month and includes $300 for property taxes and insurance, what is the amount of the mortgage payment that goes towards principal and interest? All right. Remember, what are the 4 components of a mortgage payment? Okay? So let's put all this down here. So mortgage payment is $1,200 a month. And $300 is for property taxes. So taxes and insurance is $300. Okay? Now, let's talk about a mortgage. A mortgage payment includes 4 things. Okay? 4 important things in your mortgage payment. You have the principal. You have interest. You have taxes. And you have insurance. Okay? All of these things put together equals your 1 month mortgage payment. Now, if you live in an association, obviously, of course, they're going to include HOA, but we're not talking about that right now. Okay? None of this here has HOA payment or anything. So, if they're saying that the whole entire mortgage payment is $1,200 and already taxes and insurance are $300, right? That's this portion. $300. They're wanting to know how much is this when this whole entire thing is $1,200. So, what do you think we're going to do here? What do you think we're going to do to find what is the principal interest? This is our main, that's our unknown. That's what their question is asking. How much goes towards the principal and interest? Subtract. Very good. Very good. We got to subtract. That's it. That's all we got to do. Because remember, this plus this equals this. It's like algebra. Okay, I know that you guys don't want to hear algebra, but you do that all day long. People are like, oh, when will I ever use algebra in my life? Right now. That's exactly what you just did in your head. So basically in algebra, this is written x plus 300 equals 1,200. And then what do? You subtract 300 to both sides. And then that's how you get this principal and interest payment. So for this, you get your calculator and you subtract. Yes, I don't know how to do arithmetic. And you get 900. So $900 is what goes towards their principal and interest. So the answer is C. And that's the way. So a good way to remember what's in a mortgage, just a quick, I don't know if they taught you this, but I always remember it by the acronym PT, P-I-T-I, or you can write it like P-I-T-I. So principal, interest, taxes, insurance. So PT is for your mortgage. That's the 4 components of a mortgage. That way you don't forget, okay? So super easy, little quick and simple way to remember what is in a mortgage payment. All right, so that's what I have there. Don't forget, download this study guide for you so that way you can practice more. Okay, so to get this study guide, we'll go directly to my website, justcallmaggie.com, and then /education. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I pretty much read and comment back to everybody. Thank you so much. I love for all of you guys to follow me. That has really made a big difference, and I appreciate you all so much. And I thank you all so much for coming. Feel free to leave me questions in my comments of my videos, and let me know what you guys want to learn more of. All right? Well, thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to end the live now.